Howdy, folks, and welcome back. Episode 2 of the Anchor Bay Archives podcast. I am the Creepy Kentuckian.
And I'm Garrett over at Born to Be Rad, and welcome to Anchor Bay Archives. We got a big show tonight. We got some special guests that were in the mix of Anchor Bay for a long time. We got the two Mikes down there. We got Mike Slipcase Felsher, and we've got Mike Ortiz, former members of the Anchor Bay team. Guys, welcome to the show.
One title I definitely wanted to mention and talk about with you guys is the Dawn of the Dead Ultimate Edition. How long of a process did that take from beginning to end?
Well, Dawn of the Dead is probably the best example of we're out of time. What the fuck do we do?
Yeah.
Because that box set, which went from being 3 discs, we were going to do a single disc, a 3 disc, and a 5 disc. I don't know what the hell was going to be in the 5 disc, but we were going to do a 5.
But I actually also have.
Oh yeah, that was what our.
What is that?
This was the 3 discs version of Dawn of the Dead.
That is got to be a pretty rare thing right there.
Well, it's handmade. It's
it's like what do they call that? Like a
This is a
like
one
a
of
sample, right?
Right, and there's not even any digis in there. This is just paper and food board, and this is how we would.
So that was when we were going to do a single disc, a 3 disc, and a 5 disc. And at some point, the 3 and the 5 got condensed.
Right. Well, we whatever it is, we didn't have a 5th disc.
No, we didn't. We was like, wait a minute, we don't have enough content to fill up 5 discs.
But
soundtrack.
1, 3, 5.
Yeah.
And then it became, well, we can't do 1, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So we'll just do 1, 4.
4. Yeah.
And that's how that evolved.
And so the 4, and this was also coming after the Book of the Dead, so there was a lot of pressure. Top the Book of the Dead somehow. Yeah. Top the Book of the Dead. Well, you can't. So we settled on this idea of doing like a black velvet cover.
Yeah. So it was a digibook.
Yeah, that had a black velvet feel, like an Elvis. Elvis used it. One of the releases of an Elvis miniseries used the black velvet for that, and that was what we was like. We'll do we called it the fuzzy. Let's do the fuzzy. We wouldn't do the fuzzy, and we were on that for months.
It was going to silk screen the logo on the front.
Yeah, it was going to be like, and you would just pick it up. Ooh, this feels cool.
Yeah.
Well, at the 11th hour, the verdict finally came in. Too expensive, and even if it was cheap, we don't have time. So it's like, oh shit. So what was this on a Wednesday?
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, so it had to go to print the next Monday.
Well, no, yeah, it was. So to back it up. Yeah, it was like Wednesday we get the okay, we can't do this. We have to come up with new packaging.
Yeah.
So we reach out to a company called AGI.
Who did Near Dark.
They used to save our ass. Like that was kind of their thing. When things were turning to shit, something was going wrong, AGI can come up with.
You got to give a shout out to a guy named Miles Rodnick. He swooped in like Superman.
Yeah.
Like 5 or 6 times for us.
And we called them up and like, what can we do? And they're like, the only thing you got time for is a 4-disc digi and a slip. We can send you the
templates
now. To meet your date, we have to start manufacturing Saturday.
That's right.
We need the files by first thing Friday morning, which means we need them. You need to do them Thursday.
Yeah. So this is Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever the hell.
We have 1 day to come up and to design that entire package and go to print. Now, we were able to take aspects of the thing that we had done and rework it. And if you look at the book,
look at the interior, it's not terribly different than.
Right. And if you
that's our
back. The back cover, there's no text, there's no features, there's none of that because we didn't have any of that.
And it was also we saved money by.
Is that why you just threw it?
Right.
That's why we did that, and it's all 2 colors.
Now everybody does stickers.
Yeah. We only did 2 colors on the whole thing. There's no. Right. It's red and white, and
I always like the simplistic aspect of
that's what I love about it too. But it's also we didn't have time to do anything.
So basically, this was a happy accident that this, because I think this is a beautiful set.
Oh, it's a gorgeous box set. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's just really, really.
Mike
sharp.
did some of his best work on this, but he did it all in the space of like 24 hours.
Right. I mean, that was basically that entire thing was created in one work shift.
He had to come in on.
Right.
Didn't
So
you have to come in on a.
Yeah, we sent it out like probably end of the day Thursday. They're processing it. They needed to process it Friday so they could get it in FedEx by the end of the day Friday, so they could have it delivered to Anchor Bay's office for a Saturday delivery. And they're making 2 sets of proofs. One was going to Anchor Bay, one was going to the printing plant. And so Tom Bambard and I had to drive into the office on Saturday, wait for the proof, get the proof. When we approved it, we just called the printing plant and just said, go. Like they were waiting for us to approve the proof.
I remember at the time though the hype around this set, like it was months and months and months. People were talking about this.
It had been threatened for it took over. I think it was like almost a year and a half to renegotiate the license for Dawn of the Dead, and only only Nixon could go to China. Only Jay Douglas could work this deal out. It was the only way this could.
It's crazy because how many Dawn of the Deads we saw from Anchor Bay in all the different forms, and then this one kind of had everything included, and then to see where Dawn of the Dead's been since Anchor Bay has been a disaster, right?
It's been nowhere.
No,
in the US,
domestically nowhere. Yeah, no, it hasn't been out in anyone. But again, and it's a beautiful set. When we got the finals in, you would have thought that was weeks and weeks of design work.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, now what made you guys decide to go with like? Okay, we need to re-release Dawn. Was everything else out of print? Did you have to redo the license? And say, well, since we just did it.
What had happened was, Jay had gotten the license years before, and they had done like the Andy Warhol cover and all the different VHS iterations, and the initial DVD. The license expired right after that, and so Jay had to renegotiate with the owner, Richard Rubenstein, and that took at least a year to get done. I even attended one of the meetings we had with Richard. I always liked Richard. I always got along well with him, but it was Richard's deals are and Richard's basic attitude is do it the way I want, or I don't, I won't do it.
So basically you're dropping right now that Red Shirt Pictures is going to put out Dawn. Is that what you're saying?
No.
You probably don't have the patience to deal with
I don't.
Since you were in on the meetings, I
don't have the patience. I don't have the money.
Well, is it true though that Scream Factory tried for a long time?
Everyone tried.
Yeah,
everyone has.
And it's
how could it what I just always curious what could at this point go south where basically you said as long as you just agree to everything. It's
sometimes it's something in the again. That's just the way he is. And Jay was like the only one who was able to hang in there. I think Jay aged 5 years doing that. But then that eventually got sorted out. So it was a matter of, well, now we can really remaster it, include all the different versions, and put it all in one big package.
Unbelievable.
And again, I can't tell you how many times I've had people, like when I go to Living Dead Weekend, especially, you still see tons of those Ultimate Editions floating around. And people are like, this is still my favorite edition. It's the most beautiful edition they ever put out. It's like, yeah. It's like, God, and I remember someone specifically came up to me and said, how long did it take you to put this whole thing together? I mean, are you talking about the package? And it's like, well, yeah, that was
Thursday.
Hours. I mean, it was just, but again, and I think, there was a disadvantage in that we didn't have the time to really refine anything. But Mike, again, by adopting, we got to keep this simple. And also, it didn't route to anybody else.
Yeah.
There was no time.
Right.
There just wasn't time. We couldn't get anybody else's opinion. We weren't going to make their fucking street date. So
the first time I saw that set, though, and I noticed it at the time, it's a perfect, like a memorabilia item for a fan to get autographed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
too.
It is.
Like it's just a silver Sharpie.
Didn't they, Mike? I got one. That's the one I got for him at Horror Hound.
That's great.
I got it signed by everyone at not Horror Hound, Horror Find Weekend.
Ooh, is that the same Horror Find Weekend that we were at?
That's the one you guys were at, yeah.
That's nice.
Because I saw a couple of them floating around. I don't think they were officially out at the time. I think
They
Ken
were not.
Forey
No, they were not.
had one at his table, and everybody was like, "How much? How much?"
I brought like 5 or 6 of them, and I gave them to a few people. Then I contested one, and then I brought one that I got signed. I gave to Mike. So yeah, that was 2004.
2004, yeah.
Yeah. But no, that set's one of those ones where it's just like, I just love to say, oh my God, this is such a great. Yeah, we busted our ass on that one for weeks, I tell you.
It's kind of interesting that you mentioned that. I do want to kind of point something out. And Michael, you might not even remember this. You notice anything different about these?
The perspective was always wrong on that. And so he fixed it.
Dawn of the Dead. Well, actually, not just that. This is a completely different title treatment. We just
It's all been redone. Yeah.
And the image is also re-illustrated because the whole idea was we're going to tighten it up, modernize it, correct the perspective.
I have Mike's original pencil sketch of it in a frame in my, in my living room.
And so we did that, and then license.
It was a trademark.
No. We have the other one trademarked. You can't change it.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Anchor Bay Archives. Listen to the full Uncut podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And make sure you follow both YouTube channels at Born to Be Rad and DEADPIT for more exclusive video content.